So in less than a week's time, we have got the biggest fight of 2024 in boxing, where Anthony Joshua takes on Francis Ngannou in a 10-round bout. Yes, on Friday, the 8th of March, we will be seeing these two titan of men fighting against each other in what could be one of the biggest fights this year. Obviously, we have got plenty of fights scheduled, but this is definitely the biggest fight so far, that is for sure. Relighting the heavyweight division in 2024. It is a 10-round bout, and it is going to be very, very interesting indeed. Obviously, you've got Francis, the story of Francis, how he was a heavyweight champion over in the UFC, and then you've got AJ, the gold medalist, the two-time unified heavyweight champion. You've got so many stories. We've got two sides of the story, and it is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. We're going to be doing loads and loads of content. We're going to be doing this preview show. We're going to be doing a preview show of Zhang and Joseph Parker, as well as the undercard as well. That'll be coming in the next few days. We'll be doing reactions to the workouts, to the press conferences. So stay tuned on the channel. We've got plenty of content coming up. And obviously on Friday, we will be doing a stream for the fight card, and I can't wait for it. I really, really can't wait. I'm excited, nervous, and all of the above, because it's going to be a big one. But I've also got my man AJ in there fighting, so you're always a little bit nervous when you're on Team AJ. But breaking down the fight and what is to come. Obviously, we've got Francis Ngannou, only the one bout in boxing, but we know he's got his past in MMA and the UFC, being a heavyweight champion himself. Obviously lost a few times, twice in his UFC career. We have seen him beat versus Stipe Miocic and Derek Lewis, which was one of the worst fights ever seen. But we've got Francis Ngannou, the boxer. He is no longer the UFC heavyweight champion. He is Francis Ngannou, the pro boxer, the man that some may believe defeated Tyson Fury back in October. Me including, I thought he did enough to edge it on the scorecards, just me personally, but also the man that dropped the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And in what was labelled a gimmick fight, turned out to be a very, very competitive fight. And obviously, we can dive into possibly why that was a competitive fight, and we will dive into that. But Francis Ngannou turned up when he was supposed to be the gimmick and showed that he has got a level in this game, the level that we're definitely going to find out after Friday. But we've seen some sort of level, and we can gauge where he might be in this heavyweight division. And I just think it's very interesting. This is a very dangerous fight for Anthony Joshua, but we'll talk about Anthony Joshua in a second. We're talking about Francis Ngannou, what he poses, and what is his chances in this fight, really, if we're being honest. What is the chance that he has got of becoming victorious in this fight, and then maybe getting a rematch with Fury or fighting Usyk for the undisputed? I mean, there's plenty on the table. We know we've got Turki Al-Sheikh has said the winner of this fight will be fighting the winner of Tyson Fury versus Usyk. I don't know how the timeline exactly works, because I'm pretty sure Fury and Usyk are going to have a rematch, so I think there'll be another fight in between. But if it's Ngannou, he'll probably take the time off and he'll just wait out his turn. But AJ, you know he likes to keep active. So if he wins this fight, I'm expecting another fight after as well. Potentially Hrgovic if they strip Usyk. But Francis Ngannou, let's get back to Francis Ngannou. Obviously, we saw what he did in October, and that was incredible. Obviously, you've got to take it circumstances. Was Tyson Fury 100% himself? Maybe not. Is that Tyson Fury coming down? Maybe his prime is gone past him. We don't know. There's many variable factors. But what we saw from Francis Ngannou was that he is here to win. And that is for sure. No one's taking that away from him. He is a winner. And that is what he will do. He'll put his whole effort in to trying to get that win. And I think it's a dangerous fight for AJ. I do. With a man that has got that sort of enthusiasm and inspiration, with the athletic abilities that he's got, the power, the will, the chin. I mean, we've seen he's got a very good... I've never seen him hurt in the UFC. To be honest, the only time I thought I saw him hurt, 2 seconds later, he absolutely ironed somebody out. So he's very dangerous. That's just to say the least. But I think everyone knows that. He's got power in both hands. We've seen him drop Fury with the left hook, but we've seen him knock people out with the right hand in the UFC. Powerful, powerful man, as well as AJ. But what are his keys to victory? I think trying to put a pace on AJ, but I don't know if that's a good idea, because we've only seen Francis go 10 rounds once, and if we're being honest, the Fury fight wasn't a very high-paced fight. It had decent moments. There was moments where they were both throwing and engaging, but the overall pace of the fight wasn't the best. It'd be interesting to see how his gas tank goes if the pace is stepped on. And we obviously seen him tire before the once against Stipe Miocic in their first fight. He gassed out, and that was the reason he lost that fight, if you didn't know that. But what are we going to see from Ngannou? Are we going to see the switching again? Are we going to see more composure? I'm expecting to see a bit more composure, but then potentially with him thinking that AJ's a bit more fragile than Fury, maybe he'll step on the gas a bit more, thinking if he hits this man, he'll get him out of there, and that could be his downfall, because we know AJ's a very good counterpuncher and very fast hand as well as very heavy hand. So it'd be interesting to see how he approaches the fight. I think he'll do it similar how he did with Fury, kind of respect what's coming back to him, but when he wants to go, he'll go, and he's not really scared of taking one to land one. And I think he that could work in his favour, and it could work against. I suppose we will find out Friday, 8th of March. But yeah, I think it's going to be a great fight from Ngannou's perspective, and you don't really lose much. If you lose to AJ, even if you get knocked out, you could go back to MMA, earn some more money. I think you've got two massive bags here that are going to set you for life. So, I mean, he's the real winner, really. He's the real winner. He left the UFC, and a lot of people question why you would do that, but I think he's shown why he's done that, because he's earned a lot of that. And then, obviously, if he wins, potential for the Usyk, potential for the Fury rematch. So the options are endless. Even if he does lose and get knocked out, maybe Fury loses, and they can do Ngannou, Fury, and maybe Usyk, AJ trilogy. I don't know how it'll work. But then, obviously, we've got to move on to AJ's side. It's so much pressure on AJ. There's so much pressure on AJ because, once again, that carrot has been dangled in front of him, the undisputed. We know he's been wanting that from day one, and that is what the message from him, his team, Eddie Hearn, has been: undisputed. We've had bumps in the road. We had Ruiz won in Madison Square Garden. Then we got back with the Pulev fight, and obviously the rematch, and then we had Usyk won. We took a blip, then we tried to go again with the rematch. They lost again. Undisputed looked like it was not going to happen because the belts looked like they were staying with fighters that we believed potentially were a level above AJ. But we've now seen AJ with Ben Davison. He's gone around a few trainers, but Ben Davison seems to be the match, and it seems to be a confirmation that he's going to be staying with Ben Davison. He has said he's still speaking to Derek James. There's all good terms, so I'm assuming if he wanted to go back, he could do, no problem, but it seems he's going to be based out in the UK. Ben Davison's going to be the trainer, and what we saw against Otto Wallin was probably one of his career best performances. It could be top 3 career best performances. I'm thinking obviously Klitschko number 1, and then potentially maybe Dillian White number 2, because it was such a big fight for him. But obviously you've got the Povetkin fight, Ruiz 2. It could be in his top 3 best performance of his career. Otto Wallin obviously gave Fury problems years ago, and he dealt with him, dispatched with him, bullied him, and got the job done, made him quit. He said no mass in the corner. He didn't want that. He didn't want the smoke. He didn't want to get knocked out. His corner didn't want to see him getting sparkled. And that's how good that performance was, nailing shots to the body. And I think it's got to be a similar game plan. But I think he's got to be aware, and I think he'll understand, same with the Lee Wiley and Ben Davison. They'll know that he's going to have to take a few shots here. And it's going to be interesting because we've not seen AJ like under that sort of pressure when we've got a man here that physically can cope with him. Strength-wise, I mean, the size of him, power-wise, he's got the same sort of attributes as AJ, and we've never really seen that with someone who's been at a match AJ physically. And I think it'll make for a very interesting viewing, because he could be a very big problem for AJ, or maybe because Ngannou's a little bit slower, it could help AJ, someone the same size as him. He's not punching down, he's punching right in front of him, really. And it could be pretty similar to Otto Wallin, where a little bit slow on the feet, a little bit slow with the hands, and you see AJ's footwork and you see his hand speed just become a little bit of a problem. And then obviously when you've got the power he does as well, just turn into a bit of a nightmare when he's smashing that right hand to the body, and then he comes up to the top. That left hook's dangerous. We know the uppercuts are dangerous. And maybe he does show why he's an Olympic gold medalist, why he's a 2-time unified champion. And then you really do see the level in what one pro boxing matches, and then however many, all the amateur bouts and all the fights that AJ, I think you could see the different level in skill and experience. And that could be the big factor at the end of the day, and it could be the reason why AJ gets his hand raised. Do I think he gets his hand raised? Yes, I do. In the reaction to the trailer that came out the other day, I said AJ gets the win, and I think he does. I think he does get the win. I don't know how he gets the win. It's weird. I can't visualize the knockout. I've just never seen Francis hurt, but any man can get knocked out. We've seen Joe Joyce get absolutely iced by Zhili Zhang, and we thought his chin was granite. So I think he could stop him, and I think he might stop him late. I think that's my prediction that I'm going for. I think I'm going for a late stoppage from Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. But I think he's going to have to take some. I think he's going to come through a bit of a storm. I think he's going to have to, because Ngannou is not... I can't see a world where we're going through an AJ and Ngannou fight, and Ngannou's not laid a glove on him and he's been put out. I just can't see that. I think he's going to have to come through some fire to land some of his own stuff, and that's where we're going to really see the test of AJ. Has he got in him to take some shots, to fire back and outman a man that has been through absolutely hell through his life? It's going to be a great fight, that's for sure. There's plenty of stories from both sides of the fighters, and I think it's just going to be a great fight. I think people who are writing this fight off, I think it's got jeopardy written all over it. I mean, it's really, the pressure's really on for AJ, because you can't lose to a guy who's 0-1. But then you've got to realise that 0-1 could be 1-0, and he could be technically the lineal champion of the world. You know what I mean? It's one of those. It's a big fight. I can't wait for it. Like I said, we're going to be doing plenty more breakdowns. We'll be doing reactions to press conferences and all sorts. We'll be doing live streams. So just keep an eye out. I'll keep you posted a little bit closer to the date. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. How do you think the fight is going to play out? Who do you think is going to win? But that's going to be it from me today. I suppose I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.